Hey everyone, okay, so today we're going to be talking about color correcting. Now we see it, and it's been a while since I've spoken about this, but we see it on YouTube and Instagram, we still see it, and it's really prevalent. The theory with color correcting is that you're using a color to counteract or neutralize the area of problem on your skin. So say you've got dark under eye circles, and you'll often see the YouTubers, they will then be using a bright orange or a bright red. Sometimes they'll use it around the mouth as discoloration. Now, hear me out. So say you've got dark under eye circles and you use a bright red or a bright orange corrector, and you've seen it, they're painted on and it's really strong. How is that easier to cover up than the color that was already there? Because when it's so bright like that, the amount of foundation that you're going to need to use in order to cover that new color, that red or that orange, is almost certainly going to cover the dark circles anyway, because the color is so extreme. The true trick with color correcting is that when you apply the color, whether it's a bisque or a peach or an orange, you shouldn't see it on the skin. It is meant to neutralize the area. It is not meant to be incredibly visible. So what I'm going to do is, now please bear in mind that I don't have a lot of discoloration on my skin, and I'm very aware of that. So what you can see is there's some redness here in my cheek. I've got a little bit of redness on the nose. There's a little bit of discoloration under the eye. It's minimal, and as with most people, there's discoloration on the outside corner. Now, with very, very fair skin, fair to light skin, the corrected tones that work best are lilac, which tends to brighten the skin. There's also a light green, works very, very well to counteract redness on the skin. So generally, I'm going to be working from these two colors here, which are the lilac and the green. Now, I'm also going to take a tiny, tiny bit of this very, very light orange underneath the eyes, but you're not going to see it. Now, with deeper skin tones, red, orange, and dark yellow work really, really well with the same kind of effect. Lilacs don't tend to work as well in deeper skin tones because they tend to look more ashy. Another thing to think about with deeper skin tones is that it's very important that you brighten the skin and not lighten it. And that's why lilacs generally aren't recommended, because they can look quite ashy. So we're going to start with, let's start underneath the eyes. Now, rather than go in with a bisque, I'm actually going to go in with the lilac shade, excuse me, because I just want to add a little bit of brightness to that area, and it isn't that discolored anyway. So I'm just going to go in, and I'm very lightly applying the lilac shade to the inner corner of the eye. And this is just to brighten up that inner corner. And I'm going to take it just on that outside corner and just really lightly go over it. And you can see that if I were to do it in its true intensity, so let's just stick it there, it's too much, right? So let's get rid of that, get rid of that. But by going in really, really sheerly, I'm able to work over those areas of discoloration without it being really apparent. So what I'm going to do is also go in with the same right here on the sides of the nose, because this area I quite like on fairer skin, just brings it out slightly if that's the look you're going for. So I'm going to move on to the green, and with the green I'm going to go over the cheek area, and I'm just making sure that there's not too much on the brush, and I'm literally just going to go really lightly over this area, and the goal is to take down this redness. Now, because of course my skin isn't heavily discolored, a foundation would do the trick, but I just want to show you that I'm putting on a green, but you're not seeing intense green on the skin, because I'm using enough to take away the color, the red, to help neutralize it, but not enough so that it looks visible on the skin. And that is the trick. And then the goal then afterwards is to apply foundation so sheerly that you don't need as much, because you've already taken care of the distractions. So we're just going to go in just around this area, and I'm feathering it out, and then I'm just using my finger just to pat and press it in. And you can see that a lot of that discoloration has gone. And I'm just going to take it very, very lightly just above my brow, because this is an area for me that's really red a lot of the time. And I'm going to just take it onto the nose. And remember that this is a green, it's a strong green, but you're not picking up on it because I'm not using it to such an intensity that it's leaving that kind of strange green color on the skin. And you can see it's just taken down some of that redness that was there in the skin. And that's enough. That's enough to color correct, right? So now all I need to do is just go in with a touch of foundation. So I'm going to use my number 12 brush, and I'm just going to, and this is important, once you've kind of gone over the areas, you don't want to then do this because you're going to move things. So all I'm going to do is now stipple with barely anything over the skin, just to even it out, make it look more beautiful. And now the ironic thing is that we can now go in and add back color. So I'm actually just going to take the corrector shade, and I'm going to take the bright red, the one that you kind of will see on YouTube a lot under the eyes, and I'm now going to add back a little bit of color. Ironic that we just got rid of it and now we're kind of adding it back, but that's the beauty of makeup. So just a little bit of color, but where we want it. We may not want that, our own redness, we may want a different color. And there you go. Now that is a very natural look. Now there is one thing I didn't really do, so let me get a brush. When it comes to underneath the lash line, unless this is discolored, in terms of you talking the blues or the purples, I wouldn't put a corrector there. I would just go in with a touch of concealer. But, and this is important to mention, when you go underneath the eye, right up here, it can close the eye up, which means, and you may see it as I do this, so let's just get some product on there first. Okay, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this in the camera, but this eye should look smaller than that eye that hasn't got anything on it. And the reason is that as we bring concealer or foundation up to the lower lash line completely, it shrinks the eye. It makes it look much smaller. And that tends to be why we would, even on a very natural look, you might run a taupe or a light brown eyeshadow underneath the eye because it starts to bring balance back up and open it up again. But most people don't like that color underneath the eye. They like to conceal it. But it is very important when you're doing any look, even a very natural look, that you do add something back here to just try and make the eye look a bit wider. Unless you have very, very large eyes, very prominent eyes, and then this trick of going right the way up to the lash line can actually be a benefit to you because it can actually shrink the eye, as I'm hoping you can see here. But there you go. That is how I would color correct. I would do it very subtly, and in all honesty, it is something that is rarely done because most of the time with foundations being so incredible now, it is unnecessary. And you'll see a lot of people on YouTube and Instagram doing it for the sheer sake of it. And there's nothing wrong with that if you enjoy that process, but it isn't necessary for a lot of people. And if you are going to do it, truly the goal is to take the discoloration and neutralize it with your color corrector, not have the color corrector be so prevalent that you're seeing that green or that orange or that yellow or that red, whatever color you've used on your face. That isn't the goal. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are right down there in the description bar. Comment section, stupid boy. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.